Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. In this tutorial I'll be demonstrating how to create this 50 Shades of Grey inspired cake. This is a video collaboration with JANIE'S Sweets. Don't forget to check out her awesome 50 Shades of Grey video at the end of this one. To begin, there is a 12-inch cake board and I'm just popping some buttercream on top to stick my 9-inch cake. And I'm filling it in with some more of that hybrid vanilla buttercream, which the recipe is in the linked in the description box below. Create a crumb coat. Because I'm covering in fondant, I'm making a pretty thick crumb coat. You could go ahead with a second layer again later and then cover in fondant, but I just stayed with this thick layer. Smoothing it out with my bench scraper and now clearing up the top with my spatula, bring it to the center. Allow your cake to rest in the fridge for at least 20 minutes before you apply your fondant. This is Bakels fondant that I've coloured with black Americolor gel food colour just until I got a nice dark shade of grey. Roll it out to 3mm in thickness and then drape it over your cake. Secure the very top edge because that's where it's most likely to rip. And then to apply it to your cake, just pull apart those pleats and then massage that fondant onto your cake. Do this until you reach the very bottom. And then with a fondant smoother, just going around the very base to make sure that's adhered and cut off the excess. Wrap that up in some Glad wrap before it dries out. And in the meantime, I've taken 2 fondant smoothers and clapping them together right at the corners to create nice sharp edges. Do the same with your 7-inch and your 5-inch cake as well. Now this is a demonstration of the fondant being applied without using a turntable, so it's just sitting on my countertop. There is a 7-inch cake board underneath this, so when we apply this cake onto the bottom tier, it will still have that 7-inch with it, 7-inch cake board. Same goes for the 5-inch with a 5-inch cake board underneath this cake. Let the cakes rest in the fridge for at least 20 minutes, and in the meantime we're going to cut out some diamond shaped out of fondant. This is a light grey fondant that I've used, and I'm covering those shapes with some Glad wrap just to make sure they don't dry out in this process. With a little bit of glue, adhering the first diamond at the very bottom and then the next one directly next to it and just lining up those corners to make it nice and straight. Continue all the way around the cake. Stick the next one directly on top, aligning the corners there. And I guess the best tip of how to keep it straight is just to make sure that you're constantly aligning the corners and checking that it's standing up nice and straight. The very last row at the top might, depending how tall your cake is, it might come up and above. That is a very easy fix. Just take a sharp spatula or tool and run it across your finger and let it rest flush with the top of the cake. This will ensure that it sits exactly where it cuts at the very top edge of your cake. Massage any kind of fray pieces of fondant. And that tier is almost done. I've got a brush here, a little brush, and the very end of it is kind of skinny and circular. So what I'm doing is pressing little holes into the sections where the diamonds connect. Then I'm moistening them with a bit of water and applying my edible draggies. So these are little silver pearls that can be eaten. And that hole just helps to create a little mold for them to sit in comfortably. Attach your middle tier, which was the 7-inch cake, and there are dowels in my 9-inch to support the weight of that cake. To attach your diamond tea ribbon, I've applied a little bit of buttercream that's been coloured the same as the fondant, and then just pressing that ribbon directly onto it to stick it there. And that is going to be the back of our cake. I've got the top tier now that I'm going to be stenciling over, so I've applied a little bit of moisture using a mini steamer, and that's going to help adhere the stencil to the cake. I've also popped some pins into each corner to hold it steady. And then I've taken some of that dark grey buttercream and with a small spatula filling in the spaces. Just smoothing it over our stencil, and then once it's all been covered, I just start to take some off and make it all even by swiping left and right. Now you can let this set in the fridge and then paint over it, but I was a little bit lazy and I just went directly onto it with some silver dust and my airbrush, which isn't filled with anything, so it's basically just pushing air into the little tube, and that's pressing the powder out of the tube and onto my buttercream, which is moist, so it sticks on there. When you're done, remove your stencil and then clean up any spaces that need cleaning. I went in with a damp brush and just removed that excess buttercream that managed to get underneath the stencil. Pop on your last layer. Again, there are dowels in my 7-inch cake supporting the weight of my top tier. And as a finishing touch, adding a bit of buttercream at the very base to stick on my Diamante ribbon. Make a super simple 50 Shades of Grey themed cake. This is one of my more simpler fondant 3-tier looking cakes. It's so easy to replicate and still looks really cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this tutorial, and don't forget to check out JANIE'S Sweets version of a 50 Shades of Grey cake. She has done something absolutely spectacular. I think you guys will love it. So do go over to her channel. The link will be in the description box below or in the little eye icon up here. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys again on Tuesday.